everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live. This is our look at Mid-South Wrestling, and this will be episode 271. 271. What year, Rodney? What date was this?
It was on November the 15th, 1984, from the Irish McNeil Boys Club in Shreveport, Louisiana. We open up with Jim Ross and Joel Watts. Joel, I believe, had a little attitude in this show. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I think there's a little – he might have got a little there might have been some –
I think he was mad because his suit coat was way too big.
It was something going on there. We began the show by talking about the Dream Match contest, which you send in to see what match you would like to see. And I'm sure they got like Junkyard Dog against Ted DiBiase, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, They got the Dream Match contest. They come back from it. They go to the ring. There's an interview with Buddy Landell and Boyd Pierce. And Buddy's talking about Butch Reed and how he's going to embarrass him in the match this week on the TV program. Then we come up with match number one. It's Ted DiBiase versus Magnum TA. Jack, what do you think about this one?
Oh, I thought it was a great match, great back and forth. He made Magnum, Magnum's still finding his footing, I think, at this time. And but boy, he had a great match with Ted. And I mean, you'd have to be dead not to have a good match with Ted. So
yeah, DiBiase's a wrestling machine, Brent.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a great match. The only thing that I didn't like about it was we went back to the loaded glove that had been done so much there, and so that was the only part of it that I just thought, oh man, couldn't he at least maybe have a loaded boot or something?
You know what? After a while, somebody keeps hitting you with something, you would finally figure out not to let him do that anymore.
Oh, that's right.
Now I will say I did like the camera work they did about him loading the.
Yeah, it was
that was well done.
Did you notice in that main event that it was the finish was almost messed up a little bit? That actually TA came back before he had the glove loaded, and so Dad had to get him come back. Which, by the way, our father Ron West was the referee of this match. He had to make him go back over there so he'd have time to hit him when he came back.
Now we have to remember Ernie Ladd's on the outside doing the distracting while TA, because TA already hit with the head to belly. DiBiase got his foot on the rope. Then as he come up, Ernie Ladd's distracting the referee and TA as DiBiase's loading the glove. Zaps him with the glove. It's over. And Ted DiBiase's the winner with that. Of course, DiBiase's out there with the General, Skandar Akbar, for round number 2 of Akbar's takeover of Mid-South. Okay, then. Doing that in 1982 and 3. All right. One more year won't hurt. Yeah, it did that. All right, then we come back with the while the match was going on, though, we left out a part. While the match was going on, Reed leaves the building. He has had a emergency phone call saying that his brother had been injured on a construction site, and it doesn't look good for him. So he has left the building, and now on his way to the airport. So we got that underway. So Buddy Landell's in the ring for his match, and he's wanting to know where Reed's at. He doesn't care about any brother being hurt on a construction, so I don't care nothing about that. Well, along about that time, Brickhouse Brown comes out. Man, I think a pretty decent match with them. Britt, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I thought it was good. Anytime Buddy Landell's going to be in the ring, it's going to be good. And I think he makes Brickhouse Brown shine. I think he makes him look like $1 million, and it's Buddy Landell that's doing that.
Yep.
Jeff?
Oh, I agree. I thought it was a good, solid match. Buddy, again, it's. I've never seen him. I've seen him have some better than others, but I've never seen him have a bad match.
Well, in the end, it was Brickhouse Brown going for a monkey flip. Landell holds on to the ropes. Brown goes back on his head. Then it's Buddy Landell, the spinning elbow, and it's over. Buddy Landell wins a match on television by himself. It's fantastic. All right, then we have an interview with Ted DiBiase's out there. It's going to be the big match between the football helmet match. It's going to be between Steve Williams and Duggan. But DiBiase's decided, no. He wants Duggan here and now. So Steve Williams doesn't come out, so it's going to be Duggan against DiBiase, and the people explode. The people, are standing for this one. Brent, what did you think?
Jim Duggan at this point was over. They ain't no doubt. Every time he climbed down them steps, because got to remember, at the Mid-South, at that Irish McNeil Boys Club, you had to come down, I think there might have been 300 steps there. I'm not for sure. That's a ton of steps to come down. So you had to come down these steps, and the people seen him coming out the door, and the people everybody was standing, and he was over. And the match, I think Jim Duggan had the best matches with Ted DiBiase that he ever had in his wrestling career.
Yes. Jack?
Oh, I thought it was great. It was a great match. Steve Williams couldn't figure out which body part to work on the run in, but because Duggan was laying there going, "Stomach, buddy, stomach."
Yeah, Duggan catches DiBiase with a spear, then has DiBiase down, just hammering down, and he chokes. And then here comes Steve Dr. Death Williams in his full football uniform. On him. And then DiBiase and then Hercules comes in, and then it's all of them on Duggan. Dad gets in the way. Our father Ron West gets in the way, and this has been on the opening for years after that. DiBiase takes him and throws him, and he just barely misses the camera, the new handheld camera on the ground, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful shot. But yeah, he just kind of comes right around, just floats right around. He didn't hit him, and it came close. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Finally, in the end, Tony Falk and Shawn Michaels make their appearance, but that was not going to help. In the end, it's the Rock and Roll Express, Master G, and Bill Dundee, and everybody else decides to leave. But why wouldn't they have left Shawn Michaels and Tony Falk? I don't understand that.
Well, by the way, Shawn Michaels still had his
Rock and Roll
Express. But now when I look at the show, so did Bill Dundee. So
I guess match number 4, we have the Sheik, Hercules Hernandez against Master G, with the General Skander Akbar with the Sheik in that one. Jack, what do you think about this one?
It's a good, solid match. I don't have a whole lot to add to that. Just a good, solid match.
I will tell you something about that. I remember. We were there. We were there. Maybe even been at that TV tape, but I'm not for sure. But I thought George Wells was worse than he was then. But when I go back and watch it now, I'm very impressed with the stuff that he did. There's some things he didn't do well. I don't think he sold very well. But his punches and his drop kicks and his moves were just solid. But back then I used to say, "Oh my goodness, get rid of George Wells. He's horrible." But he wasn't as bad as I remember him being.
It was the fact of why they brought him in.
Yeah,
that was it. That soured you. Get no matter what he did, you're soured against George Wells because of the Junkyard Dog. That was the end.
I think if they wouldn't have done it that way, I believe they brought him in and built him. I believe he would, because he was over a little bit when he walked out to the ring. I noticed.
Yeah. So, in the end, it's Hercules Hernandez moving on the outside of the ring, grabs a hold of the leg that had the figure 4 put on it by DiBiase the week before. He wraps it twice around the ring post. Then he comes in the ring. Hercules Hernandez grabs him, picks him up, and gives him an atomic drop on the leg. Then goes into a single leg Boston Crab, and that will. He didn't give up, but the referee Carl Fergie stopped it.
Hey, I noticed during this that he didn't cinch in that single leg too well. I think just maybe, George Wells said, "Don't do that. You may actually hurt." I don't know that he actually. I think he just stood there with it. I don't know that he actually went back with it. Not the way you would think you should. So,
he did.
I'd say George Wells said, "My knees have been shot from football, so don't do that."
All right. So now we go to match number 5. And that's our good friend Jim Horton as he returns to the match. And he teams this time with Thomas Ivy to face Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, Rock and Roll Express. During this match, Butch Reed comes back We just got word that Butch Reed has returned to the Irish McNeil Boys Club. And so now we're back in the ring. Finally, the Rock and Roll Express puts us all out of our misery with a double drop kick to Thomas Ivy. And that's the 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm going to stop right here. We and Brent were talking earlier in the week about Rock and Roll's not quite as over as they were. And I'm going to tell you what my point is about this. Is putting them against Jim Horton and Thomas Ivy. They can, and we're doing the real quick in and out, get it in, get it over. They're not having to work for it anymore. It's just given to them, and they put them in there against people that they automatically know they're going to be. Jack, what do you think?
I agree. The strong point, the big sale for the Rock and Roll Express is Ricky Morton selling.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're completely doing away with that, and are they even working anybody in a strong angle? I mean, the Midnight Express is gone. So
that was that was one of the things we were going to say, that, you know, conspicuous by the absent, but see, the scaffold matches are happening all over the place.
Yeah,
and they're not even on the show. Brent, what did you think?
I've said it from the beginning. They shouldn't have let Bill Watts should have said, no, Jerry Jarrett, you're not getting the Rock and Roll Express back. He should have said, no, sorry, I'll give you anybody else, but I ain't giving you the Rock and Roll Express. I think he hurt them by leaving. I don't think it was ever over as well when they came back. But see, they didn't have Crusher Khrushchev and Nikolai Volkov to get them over. That's what got them over at that point. You know, they left. They were out of the sight for 90 days. And Dad always said, out of sight, out of mind, people forget about you. And I just don't think they ever.
And the way they left, like abandoned the people.
Yeah.
There was no comment about it. We don't know what happened to them. And the thing about it, they could probably have worked out a deal where they worked both places.
Yeah.
They could have went Saturday, worked the weekends for Jarrett, and then came back on Wednesday and worked, the few weekdays.
Well, what was the sad thing about it is they were bringing them back to be on top, because there was a problem with Jerry Lawler and Jarrett, and Jerry Lawler was going to run his own thing, or something was going on, and they were going to put them on top.
The boys were gone at the time before they were supposed to come back. Yeah. Then they come back, they're back on top, and Rock and Roll's back subservient in the opening matches again.
Yeah, I mean, they did have a feud with the Pothos, but still they wasn't in the main events like they thought they were, and they never drew the money there that they drew in Mid-South Wrestling during that first couple of months. And not their fault, by the way. Not their fault.
No, it was not.
And just bad booking in that respect. And I think they just tried. I mean, they tried to get them back over, I think, but I think they eventually get back over when Steve Williams and Ted DiBiase go against them. I think that helped them get over a little bit.
But that's another good 4 months away before that takes place. All right, then we come back. It's an interview with Butch Reed. He tells the story of how some unscrupulous person told him his brother was hurt. Well, he called to find out, and he's like, we don't know what you're talking about. And so he felt that it was Akbar's plan to get him out of the way so they could do what they did to Jim Duggan. He promised Jim Duggan that he would always be there from this moment on until the next time they get another phone call. I guarantee you that. Match number 6.
I have to say something about this.
Go ahead.
Hated every minute of that interview. I hated the angle. I don't like things like that. It just makes the stuff. It's like watching WWE today. It was hokey then. And stuff Jack, did it work for you?
No, and I'll tell you why it didn't work for me. It's because he was calm right up to the point that he finally got a microphone stuck in front of his face. If he wanted to get that over, if he was really mad, he would have been grabbing that microphone as soon as the camera came to him, and he would have been going off on him. Yeah. But, it was like, okay, well, this is a regular interview, and there's nothing really big here. And I'm gonna yell here in a second, but I don't have any fire behind it.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me. I didn't like it at all.
Now that you said that, I guarantee you, Butch Reed did not like this deal at all.
I probably didn't.
He did. He probably didn't like it at all. He probably said, "Well, this is dumb."
Because he's really good. I've always enjoyed him. But this deal right here didn't work.
His heart was not in it for sure.
No.
He was not in it for sure. All right, so now we come up to match number 6. It is the Mid-South Television Championship on the line. Adrian Street with Miss Linda defends against the superstar Bill Dundee. I think a pretty decent match. Something that nobody in that building, nobody at the Irish McNeil's Boys Club was expecting. Jack, what did you think about this one?
I thought it was a great match. I mean, it showed their skill level, their the way they learned how to wrestle initially in Europe, and they went in there and had a match that was actually move for move, and just told a great story. And I love the finish on it. I don't think anybody expected that. It was great. It was great.
Brent?
Oh, when he hit that thing off that rope, when he hit the crossbody off the rope, them people went nuts. Yeah, and I was surprised about that. How well Bill Dundee got over when he did. But it was a good match. Like Jack said, it told a story, and they told a great story during the match, and it was a tremendous match.
And like I said, that when they got to 1, 2, everybody was expecting Adrian to kick out, and he didn't. It was over, and the place goes nuts. And that's the key. Do not do what people expect. And that is the key right there. Next match, number 7, is Chavo and Hector Guerrero, the Alamo Busters. I guess Art Cruz and Lee Ramsey. Brett, let me go with Jack. Jack, what happened here?
I don't know, but it was just like there was no chemistry there. I mean, the match itself wasn't horrible. It just it seemed awkward, but the finish it was so dead. And I know that they tried to get something back by jumping them, after it was over with, but you could just tell that was not supposed to be the finish. That wasn't supposed to be the way everything was supposed to end, and they were trying to turn it into a little something, but they were not able to.
Did you notice during this match that Rodney West, referee, he had been threw out earlier in the match, and he kept on
that's one of the points I was going to make, was that he sold more than anybody on the show.
He was selling his head because he came out and hit his head on that outside of the ring, so he was still selling that, which most people wouldn't even think about that, would not have even thought about selling something after that. But I just noticed in that match, I'm not for sure, because to me, Carl Fergie was down there pretty quickly. So this is what I'm thinking. Carl Fergie came out and said he did like old Carl always used to do, cut it. And that's what Dad did. He counted to 3 count and said it was over.
Because in fact, they were running out of time. You still got the dream match to go. You got an interview with Magnum TA still got to come up too. But yeah, to me, because of the reverse of the decision after the attack, I would assumed, unless they ad-libbed it, that whole part was ad-libbed through the whole part. But Jim Ross and Joel didn't miss a beat. They said it was a reverse decision after the attack, after the win. And it was the double underhook suplex that put Lee Ramsey out, although he tried to kick out. And I think it was 1, 2, 3. You're finished. No, you're done. And then we review the dream match again. Then we come back with Magnum T. And
by the way, I sent in my dream match for that one back then. Yes, I did. I wanted to see Jim Ross against Boyd Pierce.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a good one. Magnum TA, he was out there, and he asked, because of what happened to him earlier, he asked for a cage match on television against either DiBiase or Ernie Ladd. I would have, if I was Ernie Ladd and DiBiase, I'd have said, that's fine. We'll both face you inside the steel cage. How do you like that? But no, that was what it is. So he challenged them. And then, of course, next week, Terry Taylor was going to return to Mid-South. And that ends episode 271 for that. And by the way, there is no cage match.
Well,
Ernie Ladd said he said that would be too violent for television.
Well, there you go. He'd be probably right. Plus, why give somebody a cage match for free?
Well, he said he'd wrestle him in the arenas, but he's not going to wrestle him there.
Well, there you go. Maybe I bet they had cage matches in the arena then. I'll have to go back and look at that. All right, folks, thank you so much for I hope you enjoyed this review of Mid-South Wrestling episode 272, 271, 272 coming on the next episode. If you're watching this right now, give us that big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, on behalf of Jack Lord and Rodney West, I'm Brent West for Pro Wrestling Inside and Out Live.